Impur, and I have the honor to invite you to another Provost Roundtable, broadcasting from Berlin School of Business and Innovation, Alta Post. As all of us know, the topic of Metaverse, the Metaverse, is a hot topic nowadays, and everywhere we can hear something about it. And it has a significant impact on the life of human beings, all aspects of all human beings' lives. Because of this, the topic that has been chosen today is the Metaverse, a friend or a menace. I had the honor to invite guests with different expertise to this roundtable, and they will share their ideas about the topic with you. Before starting, introducing my colleagues, I go for a short introduction, introducing our Provost, Professor Kyriakos Kouveliotis, who will moderate this session. Professor Kouveliotis has a PhD in European Integration and International Relations, awarded by Newcastle University, whereas he also holds an MA in Diplomacy awarded by Lancaster University, UK, a certificate in Linguistics awarded by Bangor University, UK, and a BA in English Literature and Linguistics awarded by Aristotle University of Thessaloniki, Greece. He has also completed 2 cycles of postdoctorate research, one on decision and policy making, and one on conflict resolution and crisis management. Professor Kyriakos Kouveliotis has worked in various research groups. He is an accomplished researcher in a variety of disciplines, and in the last 20 years, he has been a provost and taught in many universities and educational organizations globally, among which City Unity College, Newcastle University, University of Sunderland, Derry College, University of Indianapolis, Hellenic Air Force War College, and Hellenic Naval War College, to name a few. He is an expert in developing new curricula, programs, syllabi, and also in building new global educational networks and partnerships, as he has already done with institutions from the US, UK, France, Italy, Switzerland, Ireland, but also Singapore, India, and Somalia. He has created around 100 new academic programs at all levels, supervised a number of 5,000 dissertations, published 12 books, and dozens of original scientific articles. His track record of academic publishing is composed of a variety of papers concerning political, economic, and educational issues. He has also served as a scientific advisor to the Minister of Defense, to the Deputy Minister of Development and Competitiveness, and to the General Secretariat of Communication and Mass Media of the Greek government. In addition, he was appointed by the Minister of Education as a member in the governing committee of the Hellenic Open University. He also holds various professorships in institutions around the world as Honorary Chancellor and founder of Longford International College in Ireland, Professor at Unituno University in Rome, Italy, and President of Athenaeum Liberal Studies in Europe and in India. Recently, he received a fellowship in the Royal Society of Arts and created in The Hague his own not-for-profit organization, the Global Degree Foundation. Thank you, Professor. Thank you, my dear guests. Let's go for a short introduction. Dr. Lubna, would you please, we start with you.
My name is Lubna Ali. I finished my study from INSA Lyon in France. I obtained my master in the field of security, network security. It was titled Security of Virtual Enterprises. And my PhD was also in the field of networking. It was titled Administration of Distributed Infrastructures. I have 14 years of teaching experience as I was a university professor for 14 years, and I taught a lot of modules in the fields of networking, security, information systems, data analytics, and computer sciences.
Thank you very much. Dr. Monica.
Thank you for having me. It is very nice to meet you and discuss the subject. My name is Dr. Monica Klein. I'm a dean of creative faculty here in the Berlin Business School of Innovation. My campus is in Hamburg, so I'm a guest here in Berlin. Thank you for having me. My background is in politics. I'm a political scientist in the field of culture, so the culture policy, PhD in economics, and I can call myself design manager. I finished also the film school, so I know how to produce movies, and all my practical life, my professional life, I'm dealing between art, culture, creative industry, and other fields. So thank you for having me here today.
Thank you very much. Dr. Pasha, please.
Thank you very much for having me. Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Farshad Badi. I hold a PhD in Human-Centered Informatics from Aalborg University in Denmark, with a special focus on logic, artificial intelligence, and information science, and also about 4 years of postdoctoral studies in conceptual dynamics in cognitive and knowledge agents interactions. I'm already the Vice Dean of the Faculty of Computer Science and Informatics at BSBI, and I'm very interested in actually where artificial intelligence and philosophy meet each other. Thank you again for having me here.
Thank you very much. Dr. Gergo, please.
Yeah, thank you very much for the invitation. I'm Gregor Trachol. I'm a lecturer at the BSBI. My field of research and education is mathematics, informatics, natural sciences, technology, so-called MINT subjects, which is the kind of German equivalent of STEM subjects in the English paradigm of teaching and education. So I've done quite recently habilitation in this field at the University of Würzburg. Habilitation, well, it's basically lecturer qualification. So it's like you are qualified to teach at German universities and in general conduct independent teaching, independent research. So that's what I've been doing already for 5 years, since 2018. Then I've been a postdoc at a number of universities and at also institutions, including the Lancaster University, by the way.
Really?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
But you are younger than me, so
Well, I'm
meet
afraid. I'm afraid it was kind of another time window. So I've done postdoc there, then also here in Germany at Regensburg University, Würzburg University, Augsburg. Well, generally, so I'm doing research. I've got more than 70 publications in the area of natural sciences, also using techniques, informatic techniques, and data analytics as well. Right. So this is so I'm continuing my research also here at BSBI, teaching and research.
Thank you very much. And Dr. Sushma?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure and honor to be here at the Provost Roundtable. I am Dr. Sushma Kumari. I hold a PhD in cognitive psychology, and my area of research was in emotions and memory, where I was delving deeper into the relationship between these two. And I created experiments in both naturalistic settings as well as laboratory and virtual. And I was looking at the relationship between these two. And my previous assignment was I was working as a military expert, as a psychological expert in a military setting, where I was involved in personality profiling, criminal profiling, and evaluation of the military personnel. I'm also an emerging psychologist awarded by the International Congress of Psychology held at Yokohama, Japan in the year 2017. And it was 40 participants from all over the world, and I was the sole representative from my country. And I'm very happy to be a part of BSBI now, and thank you so much for being here.
Unfortunately, your skills, due to the current geopolitical events, are extremely useful. Didn't know that. It's very interesting. Right, so the metaverse, a friend or a menace? The main reason we're having this conversation is first because it's a very current topic, and as you know, the last 12 months, everybody's talking about the metaverse and artificial intelligence everywhere. There are conferences, there are books, there are papers, there are thousands of startups on artificial intelligence on the metaverse. From the day that Mark Zuckerberg gave this term, which is nothing else than a combination of virtual reality and augmented reality, but it's a catchy word, it became very popular. At the same time, tomorrow we are having a TEDx event here on our campus, which is also related to the metaverse. So, as I said to you before, this is like a warm-up of what our audience is expected to hear tomorrow. Now, I would like to start with you, Dr. Farsad, and you are an expert on logic, information science, cognitive science, and learning science. So you are probably one of the most qualified persons to answer this question. What are the ways to utilize the metaverse to improve learning opportunities while avoiding the potential for educational inequalities to increase? So that applies to both your cognitive background, but also to your IT scientific background. So what would you say?
Thank you very much for your question. Actually, it's a very good and fundamental question, as you mentioned. Is much more related to cognitive science and learning science. Whenever I'm going to design a kind of information system platform, I need to be very careful with all elements of such a system. All elements of such a system are somehow the reflection of reality. First of all, the structure, the background, the context, the terminology, the functions, the content. And that's why if I want to be very careful about all problems, for example, like inequality, like actually disadvantages of such a system, I need to define a very well-structured model. In my opinion, there are some very important tasks that I need to be very careful about that. For example, digital inclusion. Digital inclusion is a very modern approach in the modern world that whenever I'm thinking about the concept of inclusion, which is a very important concept in the modern world, how digital inclusion would be meaningful, how actually this inclusiveness would be mapped into the digital platform. The other thing, which is a very modern vocabulary, is universal design for learning. This means that I need a kind of universal platform. I need a universal platform that can make a kind of unification for all cognitive and knowledge agents. The other one is a kind of digital literacy concept. I need a kind of digital terminology. My educational platform should be aware of understanding digital vocabularies based on educational platform. For example, if a student is memorizing something, what does it mean? Maybe my psychologist friend will add something here that how memorization will be mapped into such a platform.
I think Dr. Susma is the most appropriate person for the second question, which is what could be the potential effects of immersive virtual environments, what our colleague just mentioned, on the mental health and social interactions of users.
Thank you very much, Professor, for putting forward such an important question. I think the potential effects of immersive virtual environment on the mental health and social interaction of users are both promising and complex. If we talk about mental health, these immersive virtual environments can bring in a lot of potential therapeutic benefits. We can provide therapies like exposure therapy in phobia, like pain management, anxiety management, and other therapies in this particular environment. When I was working in close connection and collaboration with the University of Leeds, UK, we were working on a project which was about virtual training given to laparoscopic surgeons. So in laparoscopic surgery, the hand-eye coordination becomes very difficult. Hence, when we give the virtual training to these laparoscopic surgeons, the result was seen that the performance was better, the errors were minimized. So definitely not only in mental health, but also in research and clinical practices, it has a lot of benefits. Moving towards the social interaction of users, I believe that it will bring in more inclusivity. There will be people who will be able to attend things from where the opportunities are not available, breaking the geographical barriers. However, we should also see that there are concerns like social isolation and more depressive episodes, or maybe you having a breakdown from the real world scenario. So these are the things which I think needs to be addressed.
Good. And since we enter now the social spectrum, and Monica, you as a social scientist, in what ways could the metaverse influence what we call societal structures, interactions, and cultural or multicultural practices?
So first of all, I would like to start with, like that metaverse can be very prospective and good for the artists and designers, because this world has to be designed. So, all these skills, these talents of drawing, painting, creating, it's needed, because without that, we will not have this world. You spoke about this digital inclusion. So this is extremely important, because right now we are facing that some people are excluded by this digital world, and they're afraid, for example, of traveling, because they're afraid of this interaction between real and digital world, because they say, okay, we will not manage, we don't know how to deal with that. So there is this concept of Industry 5.0 that is very inclusive and says that this digital world, metaverse, should serve us people in exploring and enlarging our potential. So metaverse is giving a lots of opportunities for us. For example, enlarging the market, the economical market. And for example, artists can sell digital art as an NFTs, huge market. Right now a little down, but it was a huge thing a few years ago, and I think that it will be back, because there's lots of discussion for that. So we can repeat the mistakes we have done in real world and create this inequality, but also we can create and design better world in metaverse where people can benefit.
Great. Dr. Gregor, as a MINT, as you name it, expert, how do you think the metaverse will evolve in relation to real world social and economic dynamics? So how we can combine its function in the real world?
Right. I think that one of the significant directions in this evolution of the metaverse in relation to our social and economic interactions, this will be towards the so-called Industry 4.0. So this is the Industry 4.0. This is our current anticipated vision of the future industry, the near future of our industry. So Industry 4.0, or sometimes called the fourth industrial revolution, which is basically associated with the technologies like the Internet of Things, the cloud computing, 3D printing, and also including also the so-called digital twins. We know this. And this technology, digital twins, is actually where the metaverse and Industry 4.0 overlap. That's exactly where currently many hot discussions takes place about the digital twins and metaverse. And so what is a digital twin? It's a kind of a real life copy of a certain physical object, or a production process, can be, or a kind of infrastructure simply, just like infrastructure. And this can be used for predicting the future of this infrastructure, of this physical object. And for the term was coined by NASA. So they coined this in 2010 because they created experiments that could be only conducted in digital form, not in the in the real conditions. That was important. And one of the examples how we can use digital twins, so that's what currently being discussed, is to create a twin of our roadway infrastructure. So then we have already now real-time information from our roads. The jams, traffic jams, accidents, some other issues occur in real time on the roads.
As you know, this term, we are going to fully utilize our virtual campus for our students. So for each one of the modules they attend, one part of a session is going to be on our virtual campus, and our students will use their avatars. So it's the application of our didactic model in the metaverse. And I'm really curious to see what they're going to be their experiences and their feedback, and how we can even proceed in the future. We are already doing that, and some of you know, all the Senate meetings and the Academic Council meetings that we held on a weekly basis are conducted, actually we had one this morning, using our avatars, which is amazing. And now, because of all this interaction, comes the next question, which is related to you, Dr. Lubna, and it has to, as an expert in cybersecurity, how safe are the metaverse, and what measures can be taken to ensure the privacy and security of the people and organizations they participate? Do we feel that there is a sense of security or insecurity?
Thank you very much, Professor, for giving me the chance to be here and to discuss my idea with you. Yes, this is a very important point that we should talk about. We know that Metaverse, it's a virtual reality environment, and it's a distributed environment. So it's a very big challenge to ensure the security and the privacy in this kind of environment. But there is some methods that we can apply to ensure privacy, and now I'll introduce the most used or the most important methods. I'll start with data encryption. So data encryption can be applied for end-to-end communication and transferred data in order to ensure the privacy and to keep our sensible information safe. Then we can talk about the identity verification. Always we should ask ourselves when we are using a metaverse or this kind of applications, who am I dealing with? So in order to ensure the identity of all parts in this environment, we can apply some kind of methods like digital signature. Digital signature can ensure the identity of destination and source also. Digital signature can ensure the integrity of data transferred in this network. Then we have strong access control. We should apply a very strong access control, like for example, strong passwords. Sometimes we can use the biometric authentication in order to prevent the unauthorized access to our system.
To be honest, I feel much more safer now.
Yes.
Although I don't think we can apply all these security measures to our students when they enter the virtual campus. It's worse than flying. But in any case. Okay. Now, Dr. Gregor, let me come back to you. And okay, we discussed about security, but what measures can be taken to prevent what we call monopolies and promote fairness in the metaverse?
Right. Yes, this is.
We need to be safe, but we need also to be fair.
Indeed, yeah, indeed. That's extremely extremely important question. As it was actually, it has been in the real world. In the real world, it's exactly the same question. So I, frankly speaking, at the moment observing a kind of opposite tendency to the monopolies. It's like at the moment. Major players in the IT branch tend to create their own metaverses. So we now observe a collection of metaverses, not a single one, but rather a kind of series of parallel metaverses. So the Microsoft Corporation has its own metaverse, the NVIDIA Corporation, its own metaverse called Omniverse. Then, of course, Facebook Horizon is the pioneers, exactly. But also other things like the Roblox ecosystem, you name it. So why this happened? Because the major players, they demonstrate their strength in this. So in this sense, at the moment, I don't see a danger of creating a monopoly because they all have different strengths. In Facebook, they're experts in social networking. Microsoft, it's the software and IT. NVIDIA, it's the image processing and creating. They bring their own competencies into this field. But I think indeed the question of fairness will arise sooner or later, like it happens in the real world and, for example, in the world trade. Mm-hmm. The question of fairness of the trade. So what that means? This means that companies need to allow other countries access to their territory, so to speak, to their metaverse, like in the real world. The fairness of the trade implies transparency of the boundaries, the free movement of capitals, or funds and goods.
Looks like a virtual single market, like in the EU.
Yes, sort of.
So, Dr. Lubna, back to you. So you highlighted the framework and the security measures we can take, but from your experience, there must be definitely some threats. Mm-hmm. So what are the top cybersecurity threats in the metaverse and how they can be reduced apart from using all these preventive measures that you highlighted before?
Okay. Top security threats, we can list some threats like the first one, identity theft. I already mentioned that we can reduce the effect of this threat by using digital signature or sometimes by using a third-party authentication called MFA or multi-factor authentication. Concerning the second famous threat like malware or ransomware, these kinds of threats affect the information system itself, and we can use some antivirus in order to reduce the damage caused by these type of attacks. Also, we have a very special attack called DDoS. It's mean distributed denial of service attack. This attack try to stop the service itself, stop the traffic towards the system. We can mitigate this attack by using some DOS mitigation strategy.
That applies only for particular software and
also we can malware. Use some hardware.
I wish it applied for some people as well.
Like firewalls, IDS or intrusion detection system, intrusion protection system, prevention system to mitigate the effect of this attack and also to detect this attack by monitoring the traffic and analyzing the source of traffic, for example. By this manner, we can mitigate this kind of attack.
Good. You know, this authenticator app, it's for me, it's the most hated app in the world. Every time that it pops.
Interesting. It's interesting.
Okay. So, Monica, back to you. How could the integration of virtual reality, because this is what we're discussing, has an impact on social inequality and human connections?
Yeah, so again, like we are human beings, so we can decide how we will design this world, but unfortunately already now the segregation is happening, even inside of the metaverse. So we are again designing the world where, for example, you can join some clubs or some associations where you have very expensive NFTs. So you need to buy the NFT. There is this monkey NFT or teddy bear NFT that costs 200,000 euro. And if you have it, then you can join the club. And then you can meet another rich people. But also, like this metaverse can give some kind of feeling for the people to have an access to the high-end goods. So for example, Snoop Dogg opened his fashion company in Metaverse, and if you cannot afford the real clothes or the real goodies from Snoop Dogg, you can buy it in Metaverse. But there is another question, then if this metaverse, it will be not more attractive for the people than the real world, because we will be so disappointed in the real world that we would like to spend the time in the metaverse because it's attractive, it's colorful, you can travel everywhere. And another question, we are talking that there will be a lack of resources. Already right now we are suffering the energy crisis, the material crisis. So if for the poor people who are poor, they will stay in metaverse because they will have an access to some kind of entertainment, and the poor one, the rich one, they could really use the tangible things. So
Once
there's lots of questions.
There was a guy that he was so much engaged into this virtual reality and a certain application, I don't want to name it, but he has forgotten his kid in the car. So there are bad examples as well. Now, in education, Dr. Farsad, in what ways do virtual learning environments pose challenges and provide opportunities for both teachers and students? We already mentioned that we are having this experience here in BSBI. We have our virtual campus, we have an auditorium, we have meeting rooms, a conference room, we have an exhibition center, open spaces, even classrooms. So what else you want to add?
Exactly. A very good question, because in a learning platform, the agents are teachers and students. Now I made a list here because I didn't want to forget. Actually, in my opinion, the challenges for teachers, first of all, is technology integration, because they need to be integrated. They need to make a kind of collaboration among their teaching function and the actually digital platform. The second one is student engagement. Actually, tomorrow in my TEDx talk, I will talk about engagement. Engagement is one of the most fundamental concepts behind studying and learning. And a teacher needs to be aware of engagement of students. The third one is assessment, of course. Of course, there are a lot of topics about assessment. And the fourth one is limited social interaction. And as you also mentioned, because this is also about the social aspects. What about the challenges for students? Self-discipline. They may got a little far from the central discipline of the learning system. Social isolation, distractions, and also the lack of feedback in some cases. So, what about the positive points for teachers? Of course, flexibility. They have much more fluctuation here. They have much more flexibility. Resource accessibility. They are connected to the world of internet. A lot of resources, a lot of actually knowledge bases. Data analytics, they can directly analyze the data of the students. They can visualize the data. They can increase the collaboration, and they can focus on a global reach. And what about the positive points for students? Personalized learning. This is super important, and tomorrow I will talk about it. Personalization of learning is the most valuable function in digital platforms.
Don't say anything more. Keep it for the TED event tomorrow.
Absolutely. And accessibility. These two are the most
great.
positive. Yeah.
So we discussed about the technical part of our safety net, let's say, around the metaverse. But how about Dr. Susma for the psychological threats and safety? So how can we promote psychological safety and health for the metaverse users? so that they will not forget their kids or do other things?
Thank you, Professor. I think we can promote a psychological safety and health for Metaverse users. First and foremost, the Metaverse users need to be educated about what mental health is. So it is very important for them to know what exactly is mental health in the Metaverse world. There should be certain rules and guidelines for how they interact with other person in the Metaverse, which should be set. There should be more regular check-ins, like health check-ins or mental well-being check-ins, so that we can know exactly how they are feeling or if they are suffering from any mental health issues or not. There should be more inclusivity from all over the world. Also, certain cases like harassment, bullying, and all these things should be taken care of. Feedback should be very important. There should be feedback sent to the users as to how they can improve in certain aspects. Time monitoring, I think, is also a very important aspect, that we should be able to monitor how much time the user is spending in the Metaverse. And then, of course, if the user has a better sense of agency, then it gives better results in this world as well.
Great. Now, let's have a last round with the same topic, actually, so to close this very interesting discussion we're having. And I want this to be like an open question, so please feel free to express yourself, and also according to your previous knowledge and expertise. So how do you foresee the evolution of the Metaverse in the coming years? And what are the steps, the proactive steps that we can take in order to navigate all these potential changes and potential threats and potential new developments? So in other words, how do you see we are going? Take into consideration the application of artificial intelligence as well, because you will see at a certain stage they will work together. You will see that. It is coming. And in our world today, it takes much less time for a change to happen than 10, 20 or 30 years ago. I always use an example of what happened in the United States in the beginning of the previous century, when they replaced the carriages with horses as a public transportation with the first steam cars, steam buses. And back in the beginning of the previous century, it took them just 4 to 8 years to do that. That was extremely fast. But now, take back the time and remember when you were in high school and what, well, I'm much older than you, but now with a mobile phone you can practically do anything, including accessing the Metaverse or artificial intelligence, or you can use augmented reality and you can actually see many things. So if you step up the time, let's say in the 5 or 10 years from now, I don't think we know exactly what is going to happen. But I'm going to ask this question. So, Dr. Lubna, from you, which you have a more technocratic approach. So what should we expect from the Metaverse in the next years?
Yes, as you already mentioned, Professor, I see that Metaverse is more and more adopted. So now we will find ourselves in front of two conceptions, which are the performance of the network and the security. And here we have a great problem, which is ensuring security will affect the performance of network, especially this kind of environment, Metaverse. Sometimes we need real-time conversations, so we need to ensure high-speed network. So our network with the increase of traffic should be adapted to fit this challenge. Then concerning security, you know that always we have something new, we have new attacks and new malwares, so we should be able to fight against this kind of new attacks, to adapt to new technologies, to update always our softwares, to do some backup, maybe regularly each week in order to.
Because you know, the actual, if you want to combine it with artificial intelligence, the actual artificial intelligence we haven't seen. The part that really means artificial intelligence when the software decides what to learn and when. And when that happens, who is not telling us that one day a software will wake up and say, okay, let's break today the security protocols of the X bank. And it learns on the way. And as you know, Dr. Faisal, we have a robot here in BSBI who is a robotic lecturer and colleague. And we're going to involve it in our classroom to teach certain parts, especially in computer science and everything. So we have the metaverse, we have artificial intelligence, we have robotics. What do we expect to see from your technical side in the next couple of years?
Very good question. My answer is a quadruple. I believe there are 4 important concepts. First of all, before I talked about integration of educational concepts in Metaverse, but now I am moving inversely. I believe that we also need, first of all, to integrate the Metaverse concepts in education. In the modern world, education contains some vocabulary from Metaverse. So this is a kind of self-organizing concept. This is the first one. The second one, be informed. All the time, we need to be informed. We need to get information and feedback from the reality into virtuality. The third one, be user-centered. Be user-oriented. And the fourth one, be in the middle, in the heart of different disciplines. These 4 concepts, in my view, are the most important ones.
Great. Monica, as a social scientist, the sociological perspective of what we should expect,
Yeah, so
and how people may change.
yeah. Again, so we can create like different scenarios. You know, negative and positive. We stay with positive today. So I really believe in this peaceful coexistence between universe and metaverse, and that the metaverse will help us to be better people, you know, like, and do more. And also what you said about this digital twin, so we will challenge the physics we know already, because we will teleport. We could be in 2 meetings at once in different places like that, you know, we can just transfer ourselves.
Don't give ideas to certain people, because that's the only thing we have. Actually, we did one time. I was in 2 teleconferences simultaneously, so let's keep it to one task at a time. But it's very interesting what you mentioned. Unless you train your avatar, okay, via artificial intelligence, to substitute you talking to your robot or something like that. Because the robot learns
It's
from
happening now, Dr. Gregory, as I read and heard.
So in the psychological perspective, what we should expect?
Professor, I think in psychological perspective, as we are a field where we deal with humans, emotions, which are very sensitive to one's being. I don't see it as a threat. It's a new technique which is evolving, and I think that we should be educated. We should educate ourselves and learn about it rather than eradicating it at the very tertiary level. I think that more psychological developments like Metaverse psychological labs should be set up to understand what exactly is the psychological perspective of the students or people who are using these. Eye tracking devices are some which also helps us to understand the cognitive development during the Metaverse uses. So I also see that this can be used as an aid in psychological setup rather than taking completely a psychological role in itself.
Correct. And Dr. Gregor, your last thoughts.
Right. I'm expecting an increasing specialization of the metaverse content. Relating to the virtual meetings, for example. So you can imagine of creating virtual schools, virtual classes, and the classes will be mathematics, informatics, data science, different classes for avatars taking part on these classes. And so this would be very logical step forward. And but I'm expecting also a high level of AI use from from our students, from avatars. So this is like we see this already now. The answers they are sometimes generated by artificial intelligence tools. So we need to encourage our avatars, the avatars of our students, to kind of explore things, without AI, by like hands-on experience in Metaverse.
I want to say an observation on me. Next time you will participate in the Senate, just have a look on the avatars that we are all using. Because, and this is very interesting for you, not because we need a psychologist necessarily, but you can draw some conclusions. It's a unique way how we want to demonstrate maybe something we don't have or something we really like, and this can be portrayed. So it's a great thing. I haven't seen lots of vampires or any other, but it's interesting. So have a look. Remember that. Now, I want to thank you for this very interesting discussion we had today. I think it was the perfect warm-up for our TEDx event tomorrow. I also want to thank our audience, our colleagues, and all the other guests that participated in the roundtable, at least digitally. And as always, our technical team, that they did an amazing job. So hope to see you all and more of you on our TEDx event tomorrow.
Thank you.